Are you thinking about buying a home in Portland? Here's the truth. Buying the wrong one can quietly cost you tens, if not thousands of dollars. That's why in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down different types of homes that you should never buy in Portland unless you have all the information and you know what you're looking for. I'm Stewart. I've been a lifelong resident here in Portland, and I've been selling real estate here for over 24 years, and I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of home inspections across the city and suburbs, and I can tell you firsthand, experience here really matters. So let's dive in. So you're thinking about buying a condo. I get it. They look really low maintenance. They're super appealing. You might have some great amenities. Maybe you're close to walkability like coffee shops and stuff. But before you go falling in love, there are some things you really need to know before you make that move to a condo, because condos come with risk and it can seriously impact your budget and your peace of mind. And at the end of the day, we got to talk about all the things. So let's start with HOA fees. Most buyers think of them as just these little monthly add-ons, right? But those numbers can climb fast between like higher insurance premiums, utility costs, and just the overall maintenance. Like a $400 HOA can literally jump to $600 or $800 in just a couple of years. And that increase can hit your affordability just like a mortgage rate hike. So while your mortgage might stay the same, your total monthly housing cost could shoot up by hundreds of dollars. That's a big, big deal. So just to give you an idea of how that plays out, I recently got a call from somebody who bought through another broker about 4 years ago a condo. They were looking for low maintenance. They were looking for location. They found something that looked really, really good. But overall, it became their worst situation you can imagine. They had never fully reviewed the HOA documents like they should. Fast forward to today, the HOAs have jumped and climbed to $800 a month. And there was the possibility of an assessment coming, an unknown amount, because defective doors, windows, siding, roof, all that stuff, it needed replacing. And when the HOA didn't have enough in reserves, which often many don't have that much for all of those things, they passed that on to the homeowner. Maybe it's a few $1,000s. Maybe it's as much as $50,000. We've even seen some scary ones out there that are a whole lot more. So the moral of the story is she didn't realize that could happen. She didn't do due diligence going into it. And now she is pretty much stuck with this condo until they can work through these issues. And then the real question is, can she afford to stay? So we're going to dive into some things that make it so you have to be on the lookout for that particular type of scenario playing out if you're looking for a condo. Again, we don't say don't buy a condo, but we're going to give you a lot of things that you're going to have to really look out for if that's something you want to pursue. Here's the thing about condos that catches a lot of people off guard. The HOA reserves. That's basically the HOA's savings account that does projects. So having money for roof, siding, parking lot stuff, all the things. And honestly, a lot of associations are underfunded. So when something big breaks or needs replacing, instead of pulling from savings, they hit the owners with what we call a special assessment. That's a super fancy term for surprise, here's your $10,000 bill, or we've even seen it be as high as like $50,000 or even higher than that. And too many homeowners get caught off guard by these repair delays, and then the property goes into litigation with the builder or the HOA board. So it's really essential to review the financials before making a purchase. The good news is we have a company that can review those HOA documents to give it a health score, just like you do a home inspection, but for an HOA. They can gauge just how healthy is that condo. What are your risk factors? We just had a buyer utilize the service recently after we went through all of the potential risks of buying a condo, and they felt extremely comfortable with their final purchase because after going through a lot of HOAs and condo showings and reviewing HOA documents, they found one that actually checked out as far as they could. And we have a company that we help our clients utilize to give them as much information as possible. So a lot of it is just going into it with eyes wide open, but also having somebody who kind of knows what they're looking at when they're looking through that mound of HOA paperwork that you get thrown at. And if you're buying here in Portland, reach out to us. We can a lot of times spot these types of properties the moment we walk in. And better yet, we know what questions to ask, how to help you dig in to make sure that you're actually buying something that is not going to cost you money and headaches down the road. Another sneaky part most people never hear about when it comes to HOAs, and that's the HOA insurance. Condo associations are really having a tough time finding coverage right now. Many insurance companies have either withdrawn from giving liability policies to condo buildings, or if you're sitting near water or there's any kind of geological high risk. And when that coverage is available, the cost has gone through the roof. I've even seen it triple or quadruple. And guess who pays that? Yep, the homeowners. These high insurance costs get baked right into your HOA dues, and that's a big reason we're seeing these fees rise so fast. Story time. I had a client sell their condo about 2 years ago because they literally were experiencing, while being on the HOA board, that the HOA was having a tough time finding an insurance policy that would renew with them because their current one dropped them. By the time they got down to the final week when it was going to be due, they finally found an insurance company, but the cost went up by 800%. Yeah, that's right, 800%. And guess what? They needed the insurance. They couldn't find any other insurance company to provide the HOA with insurance. So they took it and they were passing along those costs to the existing homeowners. What's that do? Well, it raises your HOA dues. And again, the higher those costs go up, the harder it is for them to come down. And when you go to sell it, people look at that and think, God, why is it $1,300 a month? So does that mean you shouldn't buy a condo? Not necessarily, but you should go in with your eyes wide open, ask a ton of questions, look at those HOA documents in depth, hire a third company to look at them, see if there's any upcoming assessments or if there's problems with insurance, because the last thing you want to do is move in and 6 months later you get hit with a massive bill that you were not expecting. So if you're thinking about buying a condo in the Portland area, we can help you spot a lot of those red flags and point you in the right direction to make sure that you're not going to make a high-risk purchase. And so if you're planning on making a move to the Portland area, grab our 30-page relocation guide. It is packed and recently revised. It's linked in the description below, and it'll really help you take a lot of the stress and hassle out of your move. And the one thing home buyers should do is they should really look at hiring a third party to look at those HOA documents on your behalf, because as licensed agents, we are not allowed to review them and give you our opinion. We have to have you review them, and oftentimes you guys just don't know exactly what you're looking for. Should you buy acreage property? Well, maybe you're dreaming of wide open spaces, a little peace and quiet, maybe a garden, some chickens, room to breathe, no neighbors. I get it. But before you trade in your city life for country living, there are some things you just need to know, because buying acreage is signing up for a lot more than extra land. You're basically buying yourself a full-time hobby and sometimes a few surprises you didn't see coming. Acreage is more, so it requires more. Let's start with the obvious. Land takes work. Mowing might be a 2 to 3 hour job. Drainage, it's a never-ending list. Gravel driveways, dealing with septic and well, and it's not just mowing this small little yard you had in the city. It can literally take you all day. You might even need more equipment like tractors and stuff. This peaceful acreage can quickly turn into a part-time job, especially if it wasn't maintained very well when you bought it, or it's just a big project and it needs constant upkeep. And if you're not able to manage the upkeep, it can get overwhelming really, really fast. We've seen a lot of city folk try to become country folk and realize, ooh, this is a lot of work. So most acreage properties are on private wells and septic systems, which means no city water, no sewer. You're responsible for maintaining those things. This means regular septic pumping, water testing, filtration systems, and it can even mean repairs or replacement. And let me tell you, replacing a well or a septic can really run the gamut, but you're probably talking between $10,000 and $30,000 depending on the property. Plus, if you ever want to add a guest house, shop, ADU, these systems have to be sized, permitted correctly. You could be looking at huge upgrade costs down the line. And hey, if you get a bad, weather system, it can actually shut down electricity, and there goes your well. And then there's location factor. Acreage properties tend to be further out, which means there's a longer commute time, slower internet, maybe even limited cell service. You're farther from the grocery stores, the coffee shops. If it's a lifestyle shift, that sounds great on paper, but it can feel kind of isolating for people, especially when reality sets in and you're not used to not being close to everything. Now, if you truly love the country lifestyle and you want the space, go for it. We have a lot of people who do. They grew up on acreage. They know what they're jumping into. Just go in with your eyes wide open, budget for maintenance, inspect wells and septics during your home inspection period, and just be honest with yourself about how much time do you really want to spend working on your property versus just enjoying it. Because the biggest thing we hear is acreage living can be incredible, but it is not carefree, and it does take a considerable amount of time. You found a house that looks beautifully remodeled, new flooring, shiny kitchen, fresh paint, and the price seems fair. But before you go falling in love with that HGTV special, here's the truth. Not every flip is created equal, and some of the prettiest ones hide the biggest problems, especially when the work was done by the owner themselves or a first-time flipper trying to save money. So these homes can stand out, and they can actually have dead giveaways to the workmanship being sloppy, and you can see it a lot of times when you walk in the door. Just the finished work looks not done right. DIY flips often look amazing online. New cabinets, modern fixtures, maybe even a staged living room. It'll feel like you're something straight out of Pinterest, but under all that surface level beauty, there can be some issues. I've seen new flooring laid right over rotted subfloor, electrical updates that aren't even up to code, and God, the plumbing. You think about these people doing their own work when they should be licensed bonded contractors. When it's not professionally done and it's not permitted, those shortcuts can cost you tens of thousands of dollars later, and permits is really the biggie. A lot of these DIY or first-time flippers skip permitting to save a buck. But here's the problem. When you go to buy that house, you inherit the risk. And if the city actually finds out you have unpermitted work, they can require you to tear it up and make it retroactive. And if something fails, say a fire from bad wiring, or you get a leak behind a wall, your insurance company could deny your claim because the work was not done permitted. We always check for permitted work whenever we see somebody who's done a flip. We have seen things, and it's a nightmare you don't want to deal with. Even if it's not a flip, but a homeowner who did a lot of updates themselves, you still should look pretty closely. You know, if they cut corners to save money, skipping using licensed bonded contractors, you have issues down the road with your roof and electrical and all those things, that can really mean almost redoing the entire project. And it's one thing to live in an outdated kitchen. It's another thing to live in a ticking time bomb behind the drywall. So before you fall for that fresh flipped look, dig deeper. Ask for a list of what work has been done, was it permitted, and get a home inspection from an inspector that knows how to look through the lipstick on a pig. That's pretty important, because the cute move-in ready home might actually be hiding some major and very expensive surprises for you. That big house that just needs some updating, yeah, that's the line that burned a hole in a lot of buyers' wallets. Because when a large home needs work, especially cosmetic and maybe even some systems, the cost to fix it up can snowball very quickly. And it's almost never the same deal you think you're getting. When I say big home, I'm talking like homes like 3,800 square feet to 6,000 square feet. Those really big homes with all the spaces, maybe even considered a luxury home. But when everything about it needs a refresh because it feels like it's stuck in 2002 or worse, 1995, it can be very, very expensive. So here's what most people don't realize. The bigger the house, the bigger the bills. So think about systems, roof, furnace, air conditioning, windows, flooring. Those costs simply just add up more because there's more of it. If you're buying a 1,200 square foot house, replacing carpet, totally manageable. You're buying a 4,500 square foot home, that cost just quadrupled. Or double or triple the labor costs. Or the ceiling's high and you need scaffolding. So even if it looks like a really, really good deal per square foot, those renovations could eat you alive, even with a discount. A lot of buyers focus on the fun stuff. They want to update, but in a big house, those older homes, it's often these systems that are the real money pit. I have seen many home buyers take on these homes and they end up spending $250,000 in systems like roof, furnace, all the things that you don't see that are not sexy. And that's assuming that the home doesn't have surprises. So the bigger the home, the bigger the unknowns, and the higher the labor cost to fix them. So does that mean you don't buy a big house with updates? Not necessarily, but you got to go in with realistic expectations and the right budget. Get solid bids up front. For sure, get your home inspection. And you might even want to talk to a contractor about what are the things that they would consider as within a budget of a remodel, because a little work on a big home can certainly add up to 6 figures overnight. That 100-year-old house, there's something undeniably charming about old homes, right? The built-ins, the ceilings, the character, you just do not get that in new construction. Those charming details can come with some not so charming surprises that your budget and your inspector might not forgive. The thing about 100-year-old homes is that no one really knows everything that's been done to it, usually. It's lived through a lot of owners, different codes, maybe a few handyman specials, and often what you can't see, wiring, foundation, plumbing, it can tell a lot of a bigger story than the pretty trim, the original hardwoods. I have seen buyers fall in love with these homes only to find out later that the electrical still runs on knob and tube wiring. The foundation has settled 6 inches and half the plumbing is cast iron from the 1940s. Not uncommon. These sweet old homes, they just come with old things. Inspections on these homes are a different ballgame. They take longer, they're more expensive, and they almost always uncover a laundry list of issues, not necessarily because the home was neglected, but because it's just old. So there's more to check. There's chimneys, there's basements, there's foundation walls, and the list literally goes on. And here's where the element of forgiveness comes in. Buyers often go into these homes knowing there's going to be issues, and the seller knows it too. So there's usually less negotiating power when problems show up. It's almost expected that you'll just have to live with some of the 100-year-old home. Now, none of this means you should not love old homes. They can be incredible, but the upkeep and the renovation costs are in a completely different league. So even something simple like replacing windows or upgrading electrical can cost double or triple what it would in a newer home. And because everything's custom and not standard, nothing fits off the shelf. And that is so true when it comes to these older homes. And it adds up kind of fast if you're not prepared for it. Trying to replace windows that were made 120 years ago, or knob and tube wiring, all these things. So if you're thinking about buying a beautiful old Portland Craftsman or bungalow, just go in with realistic expectations. Get an experienced inspector, budget extra for hidden repairs, and remember, the century-old homes that you're buying are not just charm, you're kind of inheriting history. And sometimes the ghosts of every DIYer's projects can come about. So it's really a buyer with the eyes wide open. We sell a bunch of 100-year-old plus homes, but it does take another level of looking into the home and understanding what you're really buying. When most buyers think about when they go to buy or afford a home, they're thinking about the home price, the mortgage rate. There is one number that can quietly make or break a deal, and that is property taxes. Whether you're buying a $600,000 home or a $2 million one, high property taxes can limit your options, crush affordability, and make your home so much harder to sell in the future. We're actually seeing this issue across the board, not just in higher end homes. Even mid-range homes are getting high, and they're getting hit with these unusually high taxes compared to some of their competition. You'll see two houses in the same exact neighborhood, same size, same layout, but one has taxes around $5,000 and another one has like $8,500. And guess what? A lot of these buyers notice. They'll scroll right past those high tax homes because in today's market, everyone is watching their payments. So that tax difference can be the reason a great home just sits. Now, in a higher end price point, it's even more extreme. We had a buyer this summer shopping up to about 1.5 million, and they were fine with that budget, but they set a very hard cap of nothing over $25,000 a year in property taxes. That was really smart because even at the price point they were at, we saw tons of homes that were well over $25,000 a year. And that just eliminated a lot of the inventory that they went to go look at. The truth is, property taxes directly affect both affordability and resale value. Lenders factor in taxes to your payments, so that $30,000 annual bill adds up to about $2,500 a month in housing costs. That's like buying a more expensive home, except you don't get more house for the money. And because taxes rarely go down, you're signing up for a long-term cost that just keeps climbing year after year. So before you fall in love with a home, make sure you're not just checking the list price, check the tax line, because homes with abnormally high taxes can be harder to sell at any price point. Sometimes it's the difference between a home that gets multiple offers and one that buyers skip without even a second thought. So those are the types of homes we would say either stay away from or know what you're getting into. If you are relocating to the Portland area and you're really nervous about what kind of house fits your lifestyle, maybe you're thinking about buying one of these types of houses I mentioned, but you really need some more guidance in it, reach out to us. We always love hopping on a Zoom call, getting to know you, what your goals are, and helping you move here stress-free and find the right types of property. Also, there is a free relocation guide in the links below. Download that. We just completely revamped it. It's chock full of great information. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video.